Dare I start the show the exact way I started last Monday's show? Tight end is all that matters. No Kelsey, no cash. No Kelsey, no cash. I mean, it's just the way it is. Tight end, number one most exploitable position, number one where we can draw the most leverage. And sometimes it's a one-off punt, and other times I'm all over the place clicking the buttons. Sometimes it's a one-off punt, and other times it's just the best player at his position in football where you could get exploitative over the field if you took him over and over again in the first round. I don't know. I don't know what to say other than the formula has proven true multiple weeks now, and I still haven't got there.
This week I think was like, I don't know if like funny is the word, but the funniest, or just because Kelsey hadn't really gotten home in the last like 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. This week, tight end was loaded. It was like, wow, like what do you know? All the playoff teams have like really nice, usable tight ends. So it felt okay to forego him. And then he just goes and reminds everybody who the fuck he is, and just beats his receiving prop in like the first quarter. I think like it was like 7.5, 8 catches in like the first quarter, just absolute dominance. Shout out Numi. He was all over that Kelsey 101.
Yeah. I mean, it feels so simple in retrospect, right? Where it's just like, oh yeah, he's the biggest outlier at his position. He's the biggest mismatch. We talked about it all week, how tight end versus the Jags was like the biggest mismatch on the slate, or second biggest mismatch on the slate. And it's just like, oh yeah. And then he does exactly what Travis Kelce's supposed to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wish I would have put more volume in. I wish the $200 that I had, I would have got lucky and got the 1-2, 101, any of that. The lineups that I had Kelsey on either just had one guy that sunk it, or they were looking good into yesterday until the Bills decided to be frauds, and that game just it decided what I thought it was, which is I thought it wasn't going to really shoot out that other game. The Cowboys and 49ers. I'm already on to like the next slate and then NBA. That was kind of like, it was more at the beginning of it was like, we don't know. I think Carlos put in our chat, like it was like 3 minutes in. This game either could be like 40 to 47 or like 17 to like 13. And I really don't know which way it's going.
Yeah, so we said that all week, how it was like, it was the most high variance range of outcomes game. The other ones you could see.
Yeah. So I was set up with some Kelsey teams, set up with a nice Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, Kelsey. I had like 2 of those, just like all that, all ready to set up, and then just kaput with the having Bills and whatnot. It just didn't have the right combo, but I'm happy with the process. Again, like you said, you were tweeting out my 3 highest exposed at one point were Travis Kelsey, Dallas Goedert, Devonta Smith. I'm like, that should be looking pretty good into Sunday,
that's living right.
And then just didn't have it formulate. So again, good process and nothing really. I mean, you can just look at the lineups and just be like, I feel like I definitely could have got to that winning lineup. That's what I.
Oh, exactly. Right. Like, and that's where I'm going with it. Right. Like that was the big setup, was to get here, is like, it just seems so attainable and so logical. It wasn't even like a huge outlier in terms of ADP, because you could literally, there one magical piece for this lineup to occur basically had to happen where either ATN was a faller or Mixon was a faller. But basically you could start every single draft if you wanted to. You could start every single draft with Kelsey, then Lamb, then either Mixon or ATN. And then you needed a little bit of ADP help for one of these running backs and Kirk to fall back to you. And then you build out the Trevor Lawrence with it. But like it needed a little bit of help. But like in 100 and whatever lineups, I did 103 lineups. Like in 103, I probably should have got here. Like, you know what I mean? Like just in terms of like Kelsey being my highest exposed player, I had 28% Kelsey or whatever, which is significantly over the field. Probably not as exploitative as I should have been. I probably should have been even higher than that, but I really liked Chase as well. Anyways,
I think the story of this was like, none of the QBs separated. So like Trevor Lawrence was not the guy you needed, so to speak. It was just the guy like it was a punt QB week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no one could have told you that was the strategy. You know, it's just the way that the chips fell. And when we see QB ADP inflation with, you know, Josh Allen going like 102 and Mahomes going so high. I mean, like if Mahomes doesn't get injured, this lineup probably is not sitting in first. I think
And
Yeah,
you give
yeah,
that's a
Mahomes
fair
a
point.
full game, he probably in a healthy full game,
well,
he probably ends up being in the winning lineup.
Mm-hmm.
and you also just is the way of the board fell is Hurts was the separator at QB, and then I mean at 23 still, but like you couldn't get the Kelsey Hurts unless you got that to fall, and then you really needed things to fall to get the rest of this lineup in there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Versus if you go to like the smaller, but I think in terms of how things were built, yeah, this was you couldn't get the Kelsey with that separator at QB. Which is interesting. I was going to say later in the week, this lineup was definitely even like Saturday, like the Saturday and I'm sorry, the Friday and Saturday morning. A lot of these players, like ETN, was falling drastically. You'd see some of these players just fall. Like people just be building out mega game stacks and not taking certain players from teams, and you'd be sitting there with like for a good like day there was basically a running back clump. And it was always Miles Sanders, Tony Pollard, Travis Etienne, Mixon, kind of all in these little four that would always rose to the top. And it was like,
yeah, because
take
McKinnon
your
pushed
pick.
up above them.
Exactly.
McKinnon ended up pushing up above them. His ADP didn't finish higher, but as the weekend went on, people were taking McKinnon over that little tier. Yeah.
Yeah. The last drafts, people were just stacking McKinnon with Mahomes over and over again.
Yeah. I will say about like the ETN thing is like, I do think we were right. I mean, he ended up with like the 15 points and you did need like a piece of him, but Jermichael Hasty worked over him in the 2-minute drills. Jermichael Hasty was the receiving guy. ATN still wasn't involved in the receiving game and he didn't run particularly well. He just happened to get in the end zone. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, I think we were on to something there, but he did tie his season high in receptions in that trailing script. Yeah, all in all, nice team. Shout out Matt's Skull here. I basically never had a sweat. I think I fucked up in some regard in terms of like the overcorrelating stuff because I want to get your guys' thoughts on this because I think it's a really good talking point. I've been talking about like how densely correlated the scoring of points are in general, and when there's less teams to pluck through, that like if one team goes off, I want to have like all the possible combinations of that one team going off. The one thing that I kind of omitted from that thesis that's like a very basic DFS principle is the fact that on a shorter slate, effectively hitting the nuts is so much easier. The scores are harder to get matched because like, you can't just have like a one-off piece from a different game that scores 15 and you have this piece like that scores 15 because most likely on this slate there will only be one player who scores 15. You know what I'm saying? But like I think my thesis was like a little bit flawed in terms of like I might have overdone it where I was like, I need the uniqueness of overcorrelation because everybody's just going to be building the same. So I thought my advantage would come through overcorrelated structure, which would be deviation from the field, even though it's ever so slightly minus EV comparatively to just trying to hit the 6-leg parlay. I don't know. I don't know if it's right, wrong, whatever. I don't know if it's results oriented. I don't know if whatever. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. But like, where do you guys come off just in terms of like, we're building a 2-game slate this week with only 4 teams in each. Like, how are my correlation patterns going to look?
Yeah, I think that's true. Everything you said is true. On one hand, yeah, if things break how you were originally expecting, where hey, I want this team, I think they're gonna smash, and then like everybody just like separates. Yeah, I mean that obviously could have happened. However, like you said, I think what you then came around to as your conclusion as to, oh wow, the nuts are easier to hit on a small slate. I think that's going to hold true more often than correlating. However, I think the field is going to be searching for those random nuts more so than correlating. So, you got to think about the leverage aspect of it. And we are, as we love to remind ourselves, we're playing GPPs. So, I don't think the way that you approach that, searching for highly correlated, high scoring game was bad. I mean, truthfully, these games that we got were ugly games. I mean, it was fun because it was the playoffs and so much is at stake, but they were pretty shitty games, especially compared to the wild card. We definitely were spoiled in those first slate of games. This one, obviously way different. So coming into this week, I think, just we've been in these drafts before we hopped on the show, and I think obviously correlation, like you're going to correlate, even if you're not even trying, you're going to end up correlating this week. But yeah, I mean, we can dive in. I don't want to like get too micro on this.
No, yeah. I think we'll talk about this like coming up after and do a little bit of dive on that. But I just like to talk about it from like an overarching like theoretics, because like we've seen the formula now for multiple weeks where it's like you have that one spike tight end, whether it was premium draft capital or not. You have the one spike tight end, you have a mini stack, and then you have a bring back, or you have a double stack, and then you have a bring back, and then you have the two perfect one-offs. And that's basically what's won every week now for the last X amount of weeks. And it's kind of like, well, what am I doing to just not just do that over and over and over again? Right. Like, it's definitely part of my portfolio, but like, I think maybe I was going like too gal brain on the process of like trying to scoop a leaderboard opposed to just like trying to hit one winning lineup.
Yeah, I think if you want to really be sweaty about these contests, you pay very close attention to your lineups and you basically label them as like correlation versus just like best player available. And you could then dictate, like, in my drafts, I want 70%, kind of like what we talk about on Pete's, when we get on Pete's stream. He's always asking us if we're like micro, like choosing how much exposure we want to each player. Well, if you look at it from a macro perspective, it's okay. Let me get 70% best player available teams, 30%, just throwing out random numbers, correlation.
Sure, yeah.
And just based on like how often those hit, and you will probably end up being like extremely profitable. I did that for baseball early last season and like was rolling, and it was really beneficial. But it takes like just so much effort, and it can pay off. But I think that's part of the edge, is like who's got the most time.
Right. Yeah. Fair enough. We got a couple friendly names near the top that had little sweats here. Baby Stevie, good to see him out there. We see Toffee up here in the Hoop Street all the time. I think they duped each other. They had the exact same lineup. Yeah, they did. So two sharp players finding their way to that. Eagles was up here somewhere. That's good. And Paul was saying in the chat, if you scrolled down here, that he was tied for 36 right here with our boy Bop. So yeah,
long live Bop.
Long live the legend of Bop. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else more to say about this weekend. We can talk more specifics about like the games and what we thought about the games and that sort of thing. I mean, I don't like to be like a review, a football review show. Like that's kind of where we differentiate from the crowd. We'll give our thoughts on how those games played out as we talk about the future games. Oh, here you go. There we go. David, what's good, man? Matt Skull, we were just talking about how smart your lineup was. So, yo, big shouts, man. That's great. Big ship chaser.
Nice.
You love
Love
it,
man. Yeah.
Congrats,
awesome.
Big 20 dimes. Love it, dude. Congratulations. Yeah, I mean, just like, yeah, sick, sound, logical construction. Kelsey was the piece we needed. Yeah, this weekend there's 3 contests up already. We were gonna go right into hoops, and I still think we do, but just of note that there are 3 contests available this weekend so far. This is a nice little wrinkle they threw in here. The BR this week is 4 people drafting. These ones are 3-person drafts, but a $10 price point with 1/10 the amount of total field. So very interesting. We'll talk as the week goes on about potential dynamics and different dynamics of building between these 2 contests. Might just be a good talking point for us to go through there, in the way we've talked in the past about DeBomb being slightly different than how you build for battle royales, etc. But I think we talk a little hoops because I'm a hoops guy now. I drafted my hungover ass last night. I had a buddy in from out of town and hit a couple of hockey games this weekend and stuff. And then yesterday I was a sack of potatoes drafting some hoops teams on the couch there, and lo and behold, the blind squirrel found a nut and found his way into the top 5 there. Just
Really?
using the old bro science, the old bro science noggin up here with the hoops. But yeah, I mean, fun slate tonight in my estimation. Numi, if you want to kind of hit us with some benchmarks of the back-to-backs and such forth.
Yeah. So macro, we're looking at a 7-game slate. Oh geez, I saw 410 and I'm like, have I been entering everything into the wrong timed contest for a second? I just got like a heart attack. That's the one thing I actually always do is I'll have to check which contest, because sometimes now it's like a 610 for me. It's 610 versus 640,
right?
And it matters. Yeah, so basically we're sitting, I think it's two teams on the back end of a back-to-back, 3 on the front end. The 2 on the back end are going to be the Memphis Grizzlies and the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
The Trailblazers have been playing basically a very fantasy-friendly lineup in that they are very condensed, and they do not care about resting players, it seems like, in the recent past. They've just been playing very fantasy-friendly lineup. Now, we don't know what that's going to look like with Dame playing 40 minutes last night. So he's always, you just got to put slight risk into him potentially getting that Q tag. Does that deter me from drafting him right now? No. I'll monitor it all of a sudden. If you're drafting heavy, or only thing I'll say, that only matters if you're drafting heavy early versus late, because then you can end up getting screwed by there. So that's the only thing to monitor really on the Blazers, is they really don't.
I got a question for you about the Blazers for a hot minute there, though.
Yeah, for it.
We've seen now I have blank on the guy's name. Yusuf. We've seen his usage
Nurkic.
Nurkic has just deteriorated the last couple games here and hasn't been playing minutes. What's up with that?
Yeah, I've actually been talking with Chad about that. We were both just trying to figure that out, as we just don't I've been trying not to. I've been doing everything else. So the one thing I do is literally just not watch and get the nitty gritty in the games until afterwards, and I look at stats. So really, I have not looked into that yet. I know that a little bit of foul trouble in the last one, and then basically they were kind of getting blown out, and they closed with Eubanks over Nurkic. So I really don't know what to read into that. I know projections kind of have a middling in terms of rank, where he's just he'll basically be where he's at in ADP. But that's something I'll look into specifically, and I can post what I find in the Discord. But I specifically do not know. But yeah, it's really interesting because if you're getting less than 20 minutes, even 20 minutes from Nurkic, it's bleh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want him to get the 28 and the closing time. You need him to get up there. So
yeah, you need it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really just interesting to have a player who sometimes flirts his way up into the 20s. And then even last night, he was being drafted at 13, 14, something like that. And then all of a sudden tonight, even last night, right after the drafting window started, he was going undrafted a couple times. And it's ooh, I don't know about that far, but I'm not sure. Maybe.
Yeah, because if I look at his what some sites got him for minutes, that's really what it's going to come down to. I mean, 25 minutes is what they have him at right now. I mean, you bump that up just 2 north and his ceiling, then all of a sudden he goes from a middling packed play. He's sitting at ceiling in a combo of 28th. So he goes from 28th if you bump him 2 more minutes to and this is for anyone really, but I mean, someone as volatile as him, give him 2 more minutes, he'll probably jump up to that weird 20th range, you know what I mean? He doesn't get those 25 minutes, which he hasn't been recently, and he's nowhere near worth that pick. So these are things that you can factor in and pre-do it, because yes, you can look at these projections, but the one thing we can't be certain of is there's certain players that have more of all-time minutes, and then one foul trouble, anything else, they just go to someone else. There's a lot of different things that can go into it. So yeah, it's really interesting with Nurkic because they have Eubanks for 19 minutes. I mean, they could literally split that down 22-22. You know what I mean? Versus the 19 and 25, and that's significantly hampering Nurkic. So players like that, I mean, you can look at that for anyone. That's a good case. I mean, you can add or take away minutes from anyone. If Dame doesn't get his 36 and all of a sudden it's a blowout or whatever, he doesn't get the 9, his 63 ceiling goes down significantly. Do that.
Of course.
Anyone.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, but there's a direct correlation between playing time and fantasy points. Yeah, so I think the big macro takeaways here are back end of back-to-backs for Memphis and Blazers, front end for Boston Hornets and Bulls. The reason we kind of went down that rabbit hole with the Portland stuff is because they have the highest team total on the slate. So the fact that they're on a back-to-back, plus they have the highest team total on the slate, plus it's the second highest total game environment, it becomes a very big talking point for this slate, both in terms of like how the minutes are going to be allocated or potential downgrade.
And what I will say on top of that, if you look on the just right there on the games, they're the last 2 games on the slate. So if they do get questionable, which we'll know midday, if you do it midday, we're not going to know officially for a long time. So like that's going to be another thing about these lineups is swaps are going to become just gone. You're going to miss the first. Most likely the Boston, Orlando, Milwaukee, Detroit, probably Minnesota, Houston, and Atlanta, Chicago. And then maybe if we get news before Charlotte, Utah, you're going to be down. If these guys do get, when we find out from their injury report in the afternoon, if some of them do get put on there, you're going to be looking with a lot less swap options. So that's one thing that's interesting with these guys being the late games. So.
Yeah, that's fair. The big wild card on the slate right now is LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball routinely going in the 3rd, 4th round, something like that. And obviously when Melo plays, barring minutes restrictions and foul trouble, he finds his way into the top 8 players or so on a slate that's like 7 games. So I've been obviously, as I'm prone to do, aping into that Q tag. So that's one that's been standing out to me. Another one that's been standing out to me in a big way is Gobert. Gobert appears to be like legit hurt. They're both, not that they're not both, but they actually have like legit, like re-aggravated tags right now.
Yeah.
So Gobert's got the groin, but he's sitting there in the 6th round.
He did go through shoot around, I believe, yesterday, and I'll double check on that. Someone can double check on that if I'm wrong, but I believe I saw that he did go through shoot around at least, and did that. So that's one interesting thing. I think the thing I'll just touch on Gobert, if he's there in the 6th, take him. Perfectly fine player in the 6th. I wouldn't touch him before that. Now the teetering on like the last pick of the 5th, if you have that like last one, it doesn't really matter when, but take him in there. You'll get a swap option to Nas. Plenty of other things will open up. So
yeah. And I mean, Naz Reid fell flat on his face last time out because he had 3 fouls in the first 3 minutes. I wouldn't read too much into his line from the last game in which we had this situation and swapped to him. Like he could definitely ball. Favorite plays Numi relative to ADP. I think LED put it in the chat already. The cheat code, which we've talked about so many times, is center versus Charlotte.
Yeah.
And Walker Kessler is a guy who's going to be popping. Walker Kessler is a guy who wasn't even getting drafted in certain drafts last night. And he's my highest exposed player at this moment in time.
He's second.
What do you think?
So, I mean, he's second in terms of he's sandwiched in between the 2 Q tags in terms of the best value at ADP, which is Gobert is 19th technically. Again, that's what they have him at. Grain of salt, all that. LaMelo is 10th. Smack dab in between them at a ceiling rank of 23 versus an ADP. It's probably outdated a little bit. Now probably another 33 is Walker Kessler. Yeah, the center versus Charlotte is absolutely just a cheat code. We're looking at teams that are 26th and 27th in adjusted defensive rating. Absolutely just garbo in terms of defense. I'm trying to figure out the Utah's pace here, but they are 10th and 14th in pace. This game is, it's going to be a track meet. We're looking at it are 239.5 total. I think if LaMelo is officially ruled in, that creeps up even more north of that 240 mark. I think, yeah, Sabonis here for sure.
Yeah, I really like Sabonis. He was someone that I was aping in on last night a little bit there when I did a couple before bed. Sabonis for me, I probably have him over the Dame and Morant tier, and I kind of would go Giannis, Tatum, Sabonis. That's for me, but he did have the illness and hasn't come back to like his full self yet. I mean, I guess he's Sabonis. He just gets a double every game, but like I think he came back last game to a little bit more there. Yeah, Ant's ADP really pushed up in what everyone is deeming a good spot there. For me, there's kind of like a cliff here just in terms of ADP after like the Sabonis tier where like I'm really comfortable thrusting up some of these middle guys. The Chicago spot feels nice to me. Sengun's just been on a heater recently, and if we don't think Gobert's gonna play, you can thrust up Sengun. Like, yeah.
So yeah, for here, I would say Sengun's definitely going to rate out the best guy if you want to take him. Otherwise, you can definitely. Murray is surprisingly. I mean, if I'm doing my typical thing, it's only a 3-point difference between Murray and Sengun. So I would take Murray because it's just like at this point you can at this point if you take Murray 3-4 times, the next one take Sengun there, you know what I mean? At that turn, get a little different, and then still build out that team. I think you got to get these guys at ADP, aka DeMar DeRozan type players. Otherwise, you're not going to get them. And DeJounte, I mean, he's been doing literally what he did last game, where all of a sudden you saw him put up the 62. I think it was 2 games ago. Like he can definitely outform those, but he's the guard version of like a Jaren Jackson and all that, where he can put up those stocks that are outlined.
Yeah, that's a good comp.
So
I was going to ask, where are you guys coming out on Middleton? Looks like he's going to return against the Pistons. Good
one.
He's love to let teams fill it up. So are you worried about him coming back?
He's going to be he's going to be like a player that's going to just take away from the overall tippy top of what someone could do if on paper. He's not relevant. He's not relevant whatsoever. Let's see what they got him for minutes. 25 minutes. I'd be surprised if he hits that. So yeah, you can play this in any different ways. Now, here's the thing. I don't think LaMelo plays. He's on the report with 2 injuries. He had to get helped off the court. Now, they did give him a long time to sit. I've been playing where I think if LaMelo sits, I've been taking a little more Terry action right now, and then I think Terry moves up, whereas LaMelo kind of sits there, and otherwise you can just take him ahead of those people regardless that I normally would. Now I do take LaMelo in this spot. I will say this 17 and 18 pick where I can kind of get him near the 4th. It's tough, and especially when it's like Terry 1-1, like obviously LaMelo has the better ceiling. I'm just thinking like if LaMelo gets ruled out, Terry gets that bump up there, which is really nice. So I've been trying to play a little in angles, but I have taken LaMelo when he's there. I mean, it's just we know what he offers, and it's Utah.
Yeah, that's basically where I come out as well. It'll be interesting what we do with swaps if we don't get him, because I think you're right. I think he is definitely, if I had to allocate like percentage or whatever, I think it's like 75 to 80% he does not play tonight. I think like he has double injury designations that were both re-aggravations. It was his hand and his ankle.
Yeah, I think wasn't he the one that literally had to get helped off the court and like the locker room? I thought he got like helped off, basically like carried off, and then maybe he limped or whatever. And he's had plenty of time.
I really wanted Desmond Bain there. I don't really love the Rozier play now that we did this.
We could do Plumlee or Green if you want, or we could do D'Angelo. That's fine.
Let's do Green.
Green's one that he's been falling a lot. You could get it. We won't get him our next pick, but I mean he's popping for ceiling in a game that you're playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. So
yeah,
the word just got awful. And Jalen Green, if you just click, you can't see him, but he put up he went from 51 to 7 his last game. So but the casual box score watchers are going to be looking at it and go, oh wow, 7 points. yikes, and not click him. And he's been slowly falling down there. So he's kind of standing out too, as right around that ADP. So I think that's a good value there.
Yeah.
Or just
is Rozier a smash if LaMelo doesn't play?
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. I think so. That's the angle I've been taking is Rozier's 20th in ceiling. And if LaMelo's out, Rozier goes from what my estimation would be 45 combo ceiling. He would be bumped up near 50, probably north of that, and would get put in like that 13, 14 range kind of.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Rozier probably gains 5 spots ADP.
So does LaMelo too. If you're looking at him, like I think once LaMelo gets ruled in, he has a ceiling rank 10. So combo other people can fluctuate. So once he does get ruled in, he'll jump up. But I think I'm more be apt to take LaMelo there versus try and get the Rozier value.
What do we like here?
So Nurkic and Grant are fun plays because I've been trying to. It's just playing some angles before you get any injury report is something you can do. And if for some reason you get some nonsense where Dame played 40 minutes, they're on the back end of a back-to-back. They're like, yo, like just give the dude a break. Like they're playing aren't they playing the Spurs? Like, yeah, they're playing the Spurs.
No. Oh yeah, they are. Yeah,
Portland's playing the Spurs at home. For a total. Yeah, what are they at for?
I feel like the fact that they're at home,
7-point favorites or something like that.
If they're at home, I doubt Dame sits at home. I know what you're saying, and like, 100%. And I think that is definitely something. You know, like you can always just like try to play Miss Cleo and try to predict a future injury report. I would be surprised if Dame sits at home.
I'm just throwing out angles. I've been trying to play. I think I got away from my angle thing, and I just tried. I wasn't playing the angles enough, which I think did matter. I mean, that slate that Jokic ruled out, I had all the Aaron Gordon and all the Jamal Murray. I got close, but it was the right thing. I've been on the right process.
That was yesterday.
Of doing it. No, it was 2 days ago. Saturday, maybe. It wasn't yesterday. I didn't play yesterday.
Wasn't yesterday? The day before?
Yeah, Jokic got ruled out another one of the days. And I was drafting Murray in the 6 and Gordon in the 6 too.
So Gobert is do that, here. But he fits the same mold. Yeah, Gobert was my default pick here, unless you guys like Steven Adams more. I like
the 6 always makes sense.
I mean, free swap. Like yeah.
Anytime Gobert gets like steamed to the 3rd, like absolutely no chance should you click him. And then whenever he's free, that's whenever he goes for 60. Like that's just the way it works with Rudy Gobert.
It's literally it's like the Nick Chubb click where it's like once he gets up there, I was like is he really
little rhyme for that?
Is he work? Yeah.
Many have said cute little rhyme.
I think these Hornets, man, have some really interesting upside if LaMelo.
Yeah, Numi, it was literally yesterday. Yeah, because Jamal Murray was my highest owned player
yesterday.
Oh well, I'm telling you, that's what happened yesterday.
This is how true yesterday.
Well, I'm talking about a previous slate that this happened.
But that's what happened yesterday. Yesterday was the exact same thing, where Joker was drafted all day and then ruled out, and then Jamal Murray was my highest owned last night, and then he was the smash spot of the slate. So same thesis, different night.
What are we thinking about Gordon Hayward? Little revenge narrative against the Jazz without LaMelo. 35.9, basically not clicked.
Yeah, so didn't Hayward? He just came back.
He did.
Yeah, he's played one game.
So we got him here for a 30 ceiling, and then the reason why I have to go check minutes and see the reasoning behind. I mean, you'll see right away they're Utah's favorites. Hayward's got 29 minutes. I mean, I think it definitely becomes 100% more valuable with LaMelo out. Don't get me wrong. I wonder if it's more of a full court, full court press play. Chad, you can maybe let me know. I just don't know how much of a LaMelo out bumps him up. As much as when it comes to NBA, I will be the projection slut and I will be the data slut. It's just that looking at the minutes and what they give you. And Charlotte is just the worst team in the NBA. I mean, if not the worst, second worst. Sorry, Houston's doing their best to lose every game now, and the Spurs are doing their best. I mean, there's like 3, just absolutely tanked for Victor. So
Dame going at second again.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and Chad's
Because
got
Tatum,
this decision between
no, it's
Tatum
Tatum.
and
I'm not gonna lie. Chad has Tatum 101, like in terms of overall ceiling. And so does a site that I have. Another site's got it fairly freaking close as well.
Who do you like
So
here?
Sabonis.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's
like
close.
Sabonis.
I think it's definitely close. You can make a case for it. In the highest total game, they both are in it, so that's fun.
Yeah.
But I think it's about now. I think Chip pointed out yesterday, which was like, is John Morant basically like a overglorified DeMar DeRozan or something like that? I think I saw something like that in the Discord, and like that was hilarious because ja just seems like he has that, he'll get you that nice average, but his ceiling with how everyone's going, like on the Grizzlies, like they're just good. They got so many good bodies around there, good players, good guards. Desmond Bane is legit. Tyus Jones, when he's out there, is a good player. Like Dylan Brooks is a good defender. That's all I'll say for Dylan Brooks. You know what I mean? Like they got a lot of people that
team.
Yeah. Ooh. Man.
Yeah, so we got kind of, this is where my eyes go, this kind of decision here.
The projection will tell you Sengun at 54. Otherwise, you're jumping down to like 51 ceilings. It's not that big of a difference when it comes to these guys. I think in either one of them are interchangeable. You can do what you'd like.
Let's try Sengun because
This
we
is
just did.
Yeah, so
for what it's worth, I saw teams last night with 4th round Sengun. Like I have a couple.
Oh, from last night.
Yeah. Like Sengun's like the steam job right now.
Who was ruled out? That
nobody.
He was just
he's just, his name's Sengun and nobody likes him.
He's moved up 10 spots in ADP?
No, but people fall in certain drafts.
Huh.
Yeah.
That is a silly thing. His name shouldn't matter. I mean, box score watchers should just click his name. Everyone should just literally see what he's doing. He's
There's no logic, man.
Kevin Porter Jr.'s out. Games. Like
people drinking beers all day watching football and then they draft a hoops team before they go to bed. There's no logic. The streets are wild. Let's see here. I'm gonna see if I'm full of shit or not.
Just silly, like.
Yeah, here's Giannis, DeJounte Murray, Ball, Sengun team.
You have that? Who do you have? Yeah. Wow. Who do you have as your back end, guys?
Can't tell you. Have to kill you. Can't let you dupe me. I like Holiday here. I do think there's a bit of a tier break. For me, it's Holiday, then it's Desmond Bane, then it's like my Ball pick of like, okay, now I'm comfortable gambling, because when I get to this Terry versus Ball, I just like gamble on Ball is basically like what I do. I don't know if it's that smart.
Obviously the anyone can tell me Middleton and Giannis coming back is going to hurt that. Of course, I'll rebuttal and saying projections still have them up there, and they're playing the Pistons.
Yeah, guards versus the Pistons, right?
Pistons are the 29th worst defensive. Like they're good. They're just garbo. They're a joke of a team. I'm pretty sure I saw that Milwaukee was like 2 touchdown favorites tonight, basically. Like,
wow,
that's wild.
God, I could never bet NBA spreads, man.
Maybe it got different. Maybe it's like now it's down to 11 or something like that. I'm looking at, but near 2 touchdown favorites, which is just
okay. Hilarious. Interesting decision here, because if we do the Terry thing, it's basically the bet that Melo's not going to play and he moves up like 5 spots.
I think Terry's still fine if LaMelo plays.
Do you think that ceiling's better than Desmond Bane?
I think it's worth the risk.
Okay.
And it's not really a risk. In terms of it, we're looking at right now with LaMelo projected in, only 1 point difference. We're looking at if LaMelo gets projected out, that's a nice thing, like a nice out.
Right.
We did that lineup.
Yeah.
These are the things you have to do beforehand. Like we know injury report, all that, and then you can start getting your exposure, and you can adjust differently once we know more information. If LaMelo's on track, trending, ready to play, that'll adjust things. Terry will most likely fall a little bit, just due to the nature. He should rather he should or shouldn't. It's interesting, but
I got a name in my head. We don't want Chad to snake me here. We'll see what he does. He's probably got a smarter name in his head.
I have no idea what the lean is at this point in the draft.
I got the name, baby. Don't you worry. Lakers just got a trade.
Yeah, Rui.
Yeah, they traded for that lotto pick. What was that guy's? Rui?
Yeah, Hachimura.
Yeah.
For Kendrick Nunn. Numi, you're muted. Can you even hear me?
Numi.
Muted as hell.
I'm muted.
You're muted.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. Rui doesn't practice 12 minutes ago, and then 2 minutes ago there's the trade, and then they Underdog Fantasy posted like the Brian Windhorst meme right above like the thing.
That's funny.
So the Lakers get Rui. Fun. Okay.
I like Walker Kessler here. Walker Kessler's like my 5th round smash today.
Yeah, he went 5-1 last draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do it. I like it. The Wizards get 3 second-round picks and Kendrick Nunn. And
I don't think that's going to move the needle for the Lakers enough.
Where are we getting this Killian Hayes?
That's a hot take there, Des. You don't shocker. Rui Hachimura doesn't move the needle for the Lakers.
I mean, I know like who gives a fuck about second-round picks. That just seems like a lot of capital. I don't know. I feel
really, to be honest, second-round picks are. I mean, unless you're. Don't get me wrong. Everyone can come. Wow, if you say anything, all of a sudden the chat comes out here with every best second-round pick in history. It's like, okay, I get that. It's like now the odds of them happening. Yeah, I agree. It's literally a needle in a haystack. Find your guy that's overseas, young, undeveloped, and then develop them. Yeah, that's literally it.
Yeah.
For all you NBA players, untap that potential at the end of the season. All of a sudden, make that guy go from a B to an A. Next season is A to an A plus. No one knows what I'm talking about, but it's all right.
No.
Someone in chat will hit home with. That's all that matters.
You're talking about like report cards or something?
Nah, we're talking about NBA 2K franchise.
Okay, 2K. Yeah. I did catch that reference. Then you're not totally in the dark. You're new me.
Thank you.
Okay.
And we could do it in any franchise, for what it's worth. Doesn't even have to be 2K. So here I think, gosh, Rudy's gonna be sitting there. So again, you can always do Rudy over and over again, which I think is fine. I really do. For other options, Simons is good. I like Simons. I like Putz. Puddle.
Puddle,
Putz. I don't know. He's got nicknames. I like him. Putz.
Keep making up these fake nicknames that nobody ever said.
Vic.
Yo,
let's take
fucking
Vic.
fake.
Yo, should we take Vic? Let's take our boy Vic.
I have a qualm with you. You said something about Connor McDavid being like the greatest athlete of our generation or something, which is just hilarious.
No, he's the best relative to his skill around him. Like he's the biggest outlier in sports, period. Like he is
did you like miss the LeBron James era, or
he's talking right now?
But like, yeah, I'm talking right now at this moment. Like LeBron was like the biggest outlier in sports for so long comparative to his peers, but there were still guys that could bang with him. But like he was obviously just the best for like a decade, but McDavid's just the best versus everyone, period. Like
I know McDavid is like
30,
super
40
nice.
points.
I know he's super nice. Is he like is it like if I want to check box scores, is he dominating like box scores in that fashion, or is it is he like points leader just like far and away?
Yeah, let's do it right. I'll do it. We'll do it.
We can gush over some McDavid because I like excellence. Let's put me on. I know McDavid is the best, but I don't know exactly how good. I will say I saw that take and I was like, I knew he's good, but wow. Okay.
He's got 88 points. His teammates got 73, and then the next guy's got 66. And it's just like he's got 40 fucking goals already. Like it's crazy.
They're the Oilers, right?
Yeah.
Edmonton. Are they like number one? They're bad?
Well, like they're like relative to like having
are they the
like
Angels of hockey?
That's the best comp you could have ever made in your whole life. Yeah. It's Trout and Ohtani, and they never fucking win. It's incredible.
Is embarrassing.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Couldn't be my Penguins with their two elite talent. They knew how to capitalize on Genny and Sid.
Damn right. Let's just click this sweet football logo and see what happens for a minute here.
No ADP yet. It'll come. It'll definitely come.
I don't think it will. See, I was thinking it won't because
it never comes for this.
For the four person drafts,
slate.
yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like that is objectively true. They have never had ADP for 4-person contests. I wonder if like they'll just like switch their algo for this.
For this, yeah, because it's their biggest 4-game contest or 4-person contest.
Yeah,
ever.
for 50,000 entrants, like you gotta wonder. 51,000 to be exact. You never know. But in the meantime, I think Kelsey 101 is where I stand.
Ooh, spicy. I like it. I'm about it. A couple things where, this is where we'll have ADP. Save your draft boards. Chad's doing Lord's work, saving it all together there. One thing I do really concern on a slate this big or a slate this small in a contest this big is like, has the winner already been drafted? Like, was the winner drafted right when lock opened up and there's a Q tag beside McCaffrey and Mahomes and somebody has a Kelsey McCaffrey or Kelsey Chase something like?
Is the call coming from inside the house?
Not on this one. But I just mean, let's do it.
What was the team that you posted? You had a McCaffrey,
Mahomes, AJ Brown, all three.
No, we'll be fine. Okay. We'll get some guys drinking beers late at night, not knowing, giving a shit. So
it's true.
To quote the guy that just told me
if this is how the rankings stay, the most plus EV time you could draft is 1 a.m. because somebody's going to get drunk, pass out, and their phone's going to be on DND because their sleep alarm's going to be on. I'm speaking from experience, and they're not going to get their notification that they're on the clock.
If you want to, you're at the mercy of literally your draft mates. And if you click and you just happen to get ranked up with the sharps versus the next draft was all a bunch of scrubs that are just clicking buttons, like
I think I'm AJ
variants. There's pre-variants into these contests before we even start the contest.
I tend to agree with you, Nez, and that's what I've been doing a lot of. I kind of wanted to click Kittle's name just to see how it plays out and look.
Sure.
One thing I will say about these contests so far, so I've done like 5 or 6 of them, and maybe I did more. But like double tight end happens in almost every single draft.
Yeah,
so
just beheading one of the draft mates.
Right. And you just, you're straight up like you're not dead if you get Purdy, but you're pretty dead if you end up with like this cliff fall between.
I mean, Hayden Hurst, you're okay. Hayden Hurst is like.
Yeah, but Hayden Hurst is tight end 5. So if someone takes 2, Hayden Hurst goes, so which means one team has to pick from the Gray.
That's
Bell,
what I mean. Yeah.
Wilcox.
You're dead. You're basically dead.
So I do think that little bit of knowledge and leverage pushes Kelsey to the 101. But then I'm also, and then you add on the fact that the Q tag with Mahomes, and you can get the value of them together. But then you add in the variance of the fact that what if Mahomes doesn't go? Like all we're going to talk about all week is his ankle, right? And you know from the physiotherapy sides of like sports medicine side of shit, you know that a high ankle sprain, you can play through a little bit and then it just gets ruined. Like after the fact, like he'll be on crutches today.
Yeah, he literally will not be able to walk.
For me, I like Sanders still. I think our thesis on Sanders was kind of nice last week, and then they just didn't use him in the second half because they didn't have to. Like he had 14 touches in the first half.
It hurts so much.
It hurts so much. Yeah. And
they ran
17
over.
I mean, I'm not even kidding you. I'm with my buddy, and I'm like, so here's what we don't.
Hold on 1 second.
And then I think Ayuk's kind of just like in a class of his own here. If you're building a Purdy team, and it becomes like Ayuk Kittle, I
would rather do Tony. I think Tony is so much more like. It's just I think he's just a better
team,
pick.
Though?
Yes.
I mean, we're trying. So one thing the 4-team, 2-game, 20,000. How big is this like? I think
25 for first.
We're going to be talking the word dupe. We might literally ban it at one point because of how many times where I feel like on 51,000 entrants. Like
it's probably getting chopped. No doubt.
I mean, it is. So it's like I think the biggest thing that I'm going to be thinking of is how much do we just worry about finding the lineup that isn't dupe that's there versus worrying about that and then literally the chalk home hitting and you needing to build out those lineups to just basically cash because it's going to be duped regardless. Like that lineup you're building isn't going to happen. You know what I mean?
I think it's a fair point. Me personally, I can tell you I won't worry about it.
You won't worry about dupes?
No. If I'm playing this, I'm drafting like the best teams that I can draft. I'm not like to not get duped, like you're gonna have to draft? Like you're gonna have to pair like Quez Watkins and Juwan Jennings. Like
that's
no,
why. Well,
no.
If you can do it within roster construction, where it's like you're not. If you
that does give you an edge. I think tight end does give you an edge there.
So I think finding so ways that's what I'm saying. Like it's not gonna. I mean, yes, there can be that guy that we're looking at where Quez Watkins does. Like we can always say a Juwan Jennings, a Quez Watkins, a Trenton Irwin. One of these guys can do it. Yes, and they can put up that nice touchdown and a catch. We know how they become more relevant in a 2-game slate is what I'll say. Each time we get smaller and smaller, this is where they become more relevant and we can talk them in. Again, it's different than DFS because it's just a 6-person lineup, but I guess we're 6-man lineup, 4 teams within like our things that we're drafting. It's much different. So that's just a mental thing that I'm going to be playing is like, how many times do you take a shot on a guy like a Juwan Jennings, a Trenton Irwin, someone like that. I'm just naming off these players. A Boston Scott.
I think that kind of goes back to my point about like macro tracking your lineups that you build and saying like 90%, like if you're volume drafting, like maybe 90% of my lineups, I'm going like best player available, building the best that I can, and then saving 10% for these guys that I would never click on, like the names that we just named.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because it's like you can tell me, you can straight up tell me, and projections can all go that, and I'm like, yeah, no, I totally get you. Like the odds of that happening, and I can just be like, my response and my thing was be like, if I look at the end of the week and I see these dudes at like a 15 to 20% drafted clip, it's like I'm gonna take my shots and draft them in a lineup that's like that's just my one weird piece. It's chalk, and that's my one weird piece type thing, and do it smartly and try and do it that way. Again, not every lineup, but I would do it more often, I would think.
I think I'm McCaffrey here as well.
I like McCaffrey.
Yeah, with the 3 quarterbacks still on the board, I think you make the McCaffrey decision, see what he does, and then you can kind of open the door to this. I do think this Mahomes Kelsey, like getting ahead of it and having like a bunch of them in the bank might be like so smart before we get Mahomes news. Either way, Chad and the chat was kind of talking about this is a really good note that the NFC game is played first this week. So if people started mixing in Henny and then had like a different form of swap, you get what I'm saying? I kind of want to roll the dice here. I don't think it comes back, but if we go like this, we can just roll the dice and see what comes back, or we can get ahead of the field at tight end.
I think you have to roll the dice in these contests. I think.
I agree.
I think that'll be the lineup that
I like
within the realm of rolling the dice and getting contrarian. It's going to be one of the two, if not both, basically, slightly where it's that lineup.
See, I think
got the guys to fall. It's going to be like that lineup last week where it's like you needed a little bit of help in your draft board.
Oh, dice roll. Let's go.
There you go.
There you go.
And now we wait on them until the 4th. We take him in the 4th, correct? Like that's a for sure. So he doesn't get him on because he's taking him.
Oh, that motherfucker.
Yeah. So we got snipe job there, which means okay. So I think we take McKinnon here and then Hurts, or we take Hurts first to lock it up, and then
do you get what I'm saying? Is it just Hurts left for tight end?
Yeah, it's Hurst or Noah.
I think we taste Hurst.
I think Hurst. Yeah, if you don't take Hurst, we're drawing dead.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the only saving grace was we'll end up with a Mahomes Noah Gray team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which
So,
you're
and
gonna
this,
have
I think
to.
the one thing we wanted to clear then, just for anyone if they don't know about swaps, is the Mahomes thing. If Mahomes is, so if you draft Mahomes and this first game goes and he's active but does not start and then doesn't play, he will not swap until the end of that game, and there'll be no more games. Therefore, if you draft Mahomes and he's active and he doesn't play, it's a 0. He will not swap to Henny, correct? Or will he? Because that's the second game.
We've gotten conflicting information on this type of scenario.
If he's active and doesn't play
because
snap,
there's no more game to swap.
There's no retroactive snap.
Yeah, I believe that he won't.
So
I think I'm lagging
that's
a
the
little
one
bit.
thing. Yeah, it could be me. I don't know. My internet's getting the Wi-Fi bars over and over again. But I don't know. That's just I guess just another talking point within his injury. Is those lineups that we just, I mean, throwing it out there for anyone that just doesn't know anything. Like as far as we know, if he's active and since it's a second game, he will not get that swap.
Okay, I vote Miles Sanders, then Kadarius Toney. But you could twist my arm into double KC too, and we go like Juju Toney.
Yeah, I'm down with either route. I like both.
I think Sanders is probably the When you're first starting out and trying to build like the best teams, I think Sanders is the choice there.
I will just say, like, for the record, at this point in time, I do not think Mecole Hardman plays this week. I think his projection is fool's gold right now.
I don't think he's going to get clicked on.
I said the word Toney out loud, so Toney gets drafted instead of Juju there.
Okay. So you're saying he wouldn't. And Paul in the chat saying, I've been told he would be swapped with the KC starter in that snenario. We're gonna need.
So here's what happened to me when way back when the Titans were playing. I drafted Malik Willis. Willis. He never swapped to Joshua Dobbs, and Dobbs was not drafted. Like I know for a fact that that's how that went down. This is the exact same scenario that we're talking about. So I don't know why that would be different here.
And that's why I guess
he has the red out tag, I believe. Exactly.
He needs to have that out tag before on the back end that game starts. Like that game, all of a sudden you see if you just go to the live tab, you'll see the second game has like the blue around it. And then or whatever, it's like live fourth quarter, even though it'll be final. And as soon as it technically starts, then that'll happen. He'll need to have that out tag. So. Which is just something that will be good to clear up, because that'll be good to know before we get midway through the week and we kind of drop that for anyone that may or may not know.
Swaps to Henny. Correct. Okay, I just threw out the bat single for Mamba.
I think we all kind of are leaning towards Mahomes playing though, right? It's just
we're just we need to we need to have the scenario for any, you know what I mean? It needs to be, I think, covered. But I will say I agree. I think Mahomes will gut it out and play. So,
So Paul asking island game, that wasn't an island game. That was the second game of a 2-gamer, was it not? Because the contest it was an island. Okay, so sorry. It was an island game, but it was a 2-game contest that was like a Sunday night, Monday night, or a Thursday night, Sunday night. And it was the second game of that. So all the quarterbacks being drafted, it was like the gamble was if you take that and they're both active and then you don't get the swap.
It's basically the same exact scenario that we're drafting right now. Yes,
exactly. It just so happens that those 2 games were on different days and these 2 games are on the same day. So, but the only way this comes into fruition, if Mahomes is inactive, you get the swap at the beginning of the thing.
Or if 100%.
Ruled out. No, I'm explaining for the chat to me. And if Mahomes is ruled out on Friday, you get the swap to Henny. It's all this. The only way this situation ever plays out is if Mahomes is active as like a quote unquote decoy and then doesn't play a snap. Because if they were the early game, then you could get a swap to pieces who were in the later game. That being said, those pieces would most likely already be drafted anyways. So Mahomes is a gamble as of right now, but I think we're all kind of trending in the direction that like Mahomes is going to play, but I have no idea. right? Like I have no basis of knowledge in saying that, right?
Right. The practice reports, I mean, we're not going to hear too much other than he doesn't practice. And I don't think the field is going to budge on that. However, with the $10 contest where it's 3-person entries, it's like a completely different dynamic, obviously, because now you're not like, if you want to take Purdy, if you want to get cute and play chicken at QB, which everyone will, and then maybe like fade Mahomes, take Purdy. But what I'm mostly saying is that Mahomes will likely be the last QB drafted available in those 3-person contests. That is like a completely different dynamic with 3-person versus 4-person. It'll be really interesting to see how those play out. I haven't drafted a single one in those yet, but that is like a completely different contest.
Yeah, that's one of those dynamics that we highlighted at the start of the show, that it's just like, yeah, we'll talk about these different dynamics between each of the contests this week, because I think that's a really, really sharp one to bring up there. Yeah. Yeah, Phil saying he's hammering the $10 one. I like that idea.
Yeah, I was wondering, that was my immediate thought, was that contest seemed like it'll be an easier spot to exploit with having there's like less, 3-team drafts, more different unique rosters you can get there without dipping down into just real trash.
Chase or McCaffrey? Let's do a Chase one because we haven't done a Chase one yet. Okay. So Mamba just clarified in the chat for us in the Discord. This is the beautiful thing about the Discord and the direct communication with Underdog. If you are not in the Discord, what are you doing? Get in there, use the link below. And while we're at it, hey, thank you all. 600 subs, and we got 60 of us we got 60 of us watching right now. Do us a favor, hit that like and subscribe. Yeah, I think maybe just Burrow and then lock up this little thing, or do we just gamble on the quarterback because it doesn't matter if we get the stack?
Why not gamble?
Okay, why not gamble? Music to my ears. Kittle and get ahead at tight end, or
that's going to be the discussion is get that wide receiver, running back, you get, is the tight end position with because it's always going to be, is there going to be that one guy that double taps it that then just locks you out?
Right.
And it may not be the worst thing, but I mean, we can just assume there's a big tier drop off. We all know. We know there's a top drop off between Hurst and then Noah Gray.
Yeah, like the tight end drop off last week was like, at least you would salvage like Danny Bellinger or Hayden Hurst as like the 7 and 8 tight end. But this week it's like, and Hayden Hurst got there and people were fine, right? But this week it's like, it could be just like a legit like 20% snap player, right?
And look what happened.
Yeah. So he had the Kelsey 101. So you'd let Mahomes slide, you get Burrow to come back, you get another 1 pick. This is what, in my opinion, Fantasy Dog Pound should have done last draft, where he snap picked Burrow right after us. And I was like, no, you got to let him fall for that very reason. We get an extra pick of leverage in there. Yeah. Okay. So Mamba, to clarify, throughout the bat signal. So because Kansas City is the second game, if Mahomes is active, does not play a snap, normally, if there was a second slate of games, they would give him the out designation, and then you would get to swap to. Because it's the last game of that slate, there will be none. So worst possible scenario with Mahomes is that he's active but does not play. Then Chad Henne becomes this like crazy piece of leverage that you can start mixing.
Do we double stack Burrow here?
I like Higgins if we wanted to do that. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And because both these guys already have a running back and there's a plethora of Kansas City options below, there's the possibility that McKinnon or Pacheco comes back. And if not, we can kind of get a run back in Kadarius Toney and or Juju. Kind of funny that we're going to have another slate where we're basically discussing again that like which Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver do we want, right? Like it's just like that, it's going to be that hot talking point again, right?
And then and then we have like the whole, we're going to have smart people talking about, I feel like you're going to get the takes of with Mahomes' injury and all this, like is it going to limit the offense? Is there going to be a new offense around it where these people, where Tony, because when you said Tony, it's like with a hampered Mahomes, because he's going to be hampered in a way, like he's going to be that's just, I mean, high ankle sprain or Henny, you'd think that they find ways to not where there's not going to be pushing down the ball down the field. They're going to be like getting it to their playmakers, low A dot type thing. Let them work.
Yeah.
In that same vein,
Pacheco here.
Pacheco seems
he doesn't need. We don't need to take Pacheco if there's someone else. But I mean, he's only taking a quarterback.
Well, it doesn't matter because he can't take anything that we're going to take here. But what I think this
in case we wanted to do Hurst, I guess.
Do we want to triple stack?
Give me Pacheco.
Okay. Well, it's just like, because he can't take Pacheco. So the only thing is we could take Hurst with that other tight end, and then Pacheco's immediately there.
It was just basically
take Hurst no matter what. And we kind of block him out of a tight end.
Yeah, I'm not really concerned about blocking him out. I think builds.
I think we're better off taking Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, I think so too.
Go for it. Yeah. Either one, I think that's fine. For me, I think both of them are fine builds. So
The debate was less about blocking out and more about, do we think in a vacuum Toney versus Hurst on this roster is a better play? Mm-hmm. And I think I want that. I agree, because the narrative we're painting here is that all the pass volume goes through the two wide receivers, and layering on another one gets a little thin. I mean, it'll definitely be closer to the unique. It'll be closer to the unique spectrum. Yeah, this team's nasty. This team is big time nasty.
Yeah, this is like what I would be like very much trying to do. You don't really get something like this very often in these rooms.
Yeah, that was a fun one. So just there's going to be a lot of good stuff to talk through this week, like just because people are going to look at the box score and they're going to see the difference between McKinnon and Pacheco, and like basically the only difference was like Pacheco or McKinnon's pass catching role just like disappeared for whatever reason, and Pacheco basically just had the one long run that makes his rushing like look better than the other one, but neither of them had success on the ground. Like Pacheco just had one nice big run. It'll be a very interesting dynamic to talk through. The other thing with those Kansas City wide receiver splits, I already got it. Of course, old John Boy already had it pulled up because he knew he was going here today. Just in terms of like, what do we do down here? Like Juju's out there all the time, and Juju's doing quote unquote nothing because he's kind of like filling the same role as Kelsey, just in a way shittier version. And then we thought we were going to see the Kadarius Toney like spike, right? And then we come out and he's just still that same gadget dude, but he still looks electric when he gets the ball in his hands. And then Sky Moore just replaces the McCole Hardman role when he's just not there. And then it's just this rotational MVS Watson rotating at the outside, and it's just like running fucking wind sprints, and they're irrelevant, right?
It's the grossest thing I've ever seen. And somehow like Andy Reid and Mahomes are just absolute alchemists. It just makes no sense that what they're able to do with that.
I'm gonna just say even Andy Reid. I mean, dude, literally, wow, Kelsey here, that's fun. Dude, literally like just steps in for Patrick Mahomes, and he just runs the most simple offense that makes it look like Chad Henne's been there doing it the entire like just goes. What did they? It was like a 90+ yard drive. He took him down the field for that score. Like it's just effortless.
I think I like AJ Brown. Do we like AJ Brown here?
Yeah, I like AJ Brown. I'll say it's AJ Brown. The difference between them is that. So I'll say there's no difference between them. We know that. We've seen one go off before AJ Brown's higher. So I'll be mixing that build up where I'll just sometimes go Devonta Smith over AJ Brown and say, why not? You know what I mean? Like we've said it over and over again. We said it last week. Like you put them side by side. It's the same player.
That wasn't even the debate in my head.
Oh, okay.
So this is the room. Okay, guys, this is the room where like shit goes crazy, because like this Burrow pick here is tragic because he just gave up 2 picks of value because Burrow can come back like this. And these are the rooms where like I was like, holy fuck, we're gonna get a McCaffrey here. If it's Hayden or if it's Jalen Hurts who falls to here and we pass him, this person on the end double taps Hurts plus a Philly wide receiver every single time. And if Kelsey falls to 3, someone is going to end up with Kelsey and McCaffrey in the certain room. And it's going to be Kelsey McCaffrey and Kelsey Chase are going to be like the 2 like, oh my gods of this week. Yeah. So he can't take a running back here. So we're going to go ahead and take Mahomes, and then we're going to stack him with McKinnon because he's boxed himself out a running back.
Yeah. Mahomes would definitely go there if we didn't take Mahomes.
We already have Kelsey, so we're double stacking him with McKinnon, which is perfect.
So we can do that, or we can do the T. Higgins run back, whichever you guys prefer. And there's also the Isaiah Pacheco narrative for the double stack for Mahomes. There's also the if you push McKinnon, he might come back. But
let's
T.
do
Higgins
that.
won't
Let's
come
push
back.
McKinnon. Let's push McKinnon. Take Higgins. They're most likely going to take McKinnon, Sanders, I would assume, get their running backs. And
but if they don't,
but then we're left with Pacheco, which then would be our 6th round pick. So then we would just have to matter about our 5th round pick. If that's how it plays out, which so far it is.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I prefer McKinnon to Pacheco, but like
I do.
kind of what's the difference in some regard too? Just from like a usage standpoint. Obviously you like it in terms of like the pass catching role, but it kind of went away last week. Only 3 red zone attempts for the backfield in general, 2-1 there. Snap counts were, I imagine, McKinnon 65-35, but opportunity were quite similar. Pacheco, but we're boxed out of running back, so we could take Tony first. Do we want to go for the gusto?
That's my choice.
So you would go.
If you want to usurp me, you can.
So you want to go Tony
over Juju,
yeah. But we didn't have to go KC piece there. That's what it was. Tony over everyone was the question.
Yeah. For me, yeah.
Okay. So now it becomes like Isaiah Pacheco, and we're really layering on 4 from this KC side.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to do that, that's fine.
Samaje Perine is ascending in a big way. Is the only other piece that I could make a case for. But I think Pacheco makes sense. If Mahomes can't really do much, he probably gets utilized a little bit more. Is the thought?
Well, that's I mean, that's not the narrative we're painting with this, because Mahomes not doing something will be really, really bad for this lineup. But I think just having Pacheco in there makes it more unique than Samaje Perine, because Samaje Perine is going to be readily available for teams that have Mahomes plus Kelsey, whereas Mahomes plus Kelsey plus Pacheco will be like
you definitely
standpoint.
Go for the value for sure.
Yeah.
Another really good team, I think.
Crazy outlying scenario potential here that I would love just to throw out into the abyss. Jimmy Garoppolo coming. I mean, he's got an out tag right now. We can't draft him, but just as a potential, like, is he coming back? I don't know. Is it too soon? Is it? But it's a conversation to have after like the Scheffner cryptic tweet about the potential of him coming back and potentially returning to a role. Blah blah blah. Right?
Yeah, I wouldn't advise anybody. I'll save it for my own. I'm not advising anybody to take, to like do this, obviously, because there's an out tag there. However, I don't think anybody would be surprised if like Shanny like galaxy brained it and was like, you know what, give me the veteran over the rookie. Like, I know the rookie has been running like hotter than the sun. It's probably better to take the veteran over the rookie, even though the rookie's been playing, and like acknowledging that maybe the rookie's running hot. I don't think that's what he does, but I mean, it's Kyle Shanahan, and we've seen crazier shit go down in his decision making, in his mind palace.
Yeah, it's a wild narrative. We're just talking range of outcomes, possibilities, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Will is saying in the chat that he has seen one Kelsey CMC draft already. So I mean, that's how it happens. And it's kind of hard to stomach in like a 51,000 person entry contest, that just like knowing that exists, like every single draft that you start, you should just be thinking about trying to get it, I guess. I don't know. And
Definitely.
then deviating, right?
Yeah. I think a little change of topics here is like in this first screen, that you're looking at, like Deebo Samuel, like not showing up there is, I think, like a very, very interesting piece of, I don't know, like leverage. I don't know what you would call it, but it's like he's being drafted at a very like nice value. And if there was ADP, he would definitely be going higher.
Right.
So I don't know how to play that. Like, do you just like let him fall and just acknowledge that like, wow, he probably shouldn't be going as late as he does? You know what I'm saying? It's like, do you jump, or do you just like try to jump the market and like and set?
I've been
an
jumping
ADP.
I've been jumping the market right now. Debo, without even looking right now, I'm like 97% certain that Debo's my highest owned player.
Like,
just
I think
because of exactly what you're saying.
You could tell me he's your wide receiver 2 on the slate, and I'd be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like, why not? And he's so far down. His projection is just kind of strange.
Yeah. One
you
thing
could
I
tell
will
me
say
he's your wide receiver 1, and I would be like, yeah.
Sure.
Right.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Like, you would like I mean, you know what I mean? In terms of a dude that has a ceiling. Yeah, I agree with all that, what you just said. Everything. I love it.
Good for you, Willis, you bastard.
Son of a bitch.
We don't have a Hurts team yet.
Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown to start, and then hope Devontae comes back.
What? So let's just like talk this pick through, this second pick through. Hurts first. Absolutely, Hurts first.
Okay.
Do you stack him with like Dallas Goedert at 5, or is that just like too rich? Or do you think that's like
too rich when Kelsey goes in front and you just play the ADP game and hope he comes back? I mean, now that we talked about it on stream and stuff, he's not coming back. But
I think it's definitely, you can work it in for a combo.
Yeah.
But like,
let's do AJ Brown because we haven't done a Hurts one yet, and let's just see what it looks like.
Okay.
Let's do this. Because honest to God, I think Hurts AJ Brown's kind of rare too, because we've seen Hurts go 101 so frequently, right? Like the way these boards are shaking, that like we're pushing purple, but other guys aren't, right? So like even to get Hurts AJ Brown is like you either get it from the 101 where you take Hurts and then AJ Brown's a fall guy, or you get it like this at the other end, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. We haven't seen it in any of our streamed drafts yet, so
exactly. So I mean, it is unique to begin with. Well, comparatively unique. I venture a guess it'll end up at like 20-something percent, 27% or something.
That's what I would guess.
Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be a very interesting week to talk through the combinatorial stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is our first
that was
big
the
time
dream.
4-person.
That was the dream right there. That Debo pick coming back to 12. That was the dream.
Yeah, that would have been sick. That's what I mean. Like, it's like, yeah, I think Debo, we just talked about how Debo could be a wide receiver 1 in someone's like contrarian.
What
ranking.
a fucking cuck.
I knew he was going to do it.
Son of a bitch, Jonah. I think T. Higgins McKinnon makes a lot of sense.
You want to go Noah
T.
Gray?
Higgins. I think T. Higgins and Ayuk makes a lot of sense.
Do Ayuk.
Motherfucker.
Because what
Ayuk,
are we looking at?
And then Hayden Hurst.
Like that's okay. Now that's the thing. Now do we wait? And I get it. Like I would like to wait, but I just assume someone's tapping them, right? Like we could wait. Let's see what happens, right? Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
See what happens. Let's wait. Let's take your Higgins.
Yeah, old John Boy had a plan in his mind there, and it wouldn't have involved Ayuk.
How do you sleep at night, Jonah?
Yeah, my plan was to thrust Hayden Hurst and then just like let it roll, and then be like, one pick's going to be dedicated to quarterback. One of the other guys might jump the shark accidentally on quarterback because they're a non-badge player, and then, make that mistake. And then I thought the only 2 tight end team potential would be to double stack with Burrow, but Tyler Boyd's still on the board, which is a better pick. So I was like, let's push tight end.
Yeah,
so
no, I like it.
My pick would have been not Ayuk. It would have been McKinnon at running back with T. Higgins. I don't know. maybe T Higgins, Ayuk, and then Hayden Hurst is like a run back that you push. I don't know. Yeah, roll the dice, man. These are $5 drafts. Just keep fucking rolling the dice. That's what's up here. That's what these things are like crack, man. Just like, oh shit, we're gonna get that CMC Kelsey. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it, right? Like it's.
I think when you think of range of outcomes, if Hayden Hurst doesn't score a touchdown, like Noah Gray and him are probably the same bet. You know what I'm saying? I like Hayden Hurst needs to score, and if he doesn't,
I don't know.
score,
Hayden Hurst was like pretty involved. Wow, and it all just came back to us anyways. So
McKinnon Hurst, there you go.
Right, McKinnon Hurst. Yeah, that's a layup.
No, I love Hayden Hurst. Like I will say, but he does need to score.
Yeah, well, my thing with like the
I mean, any of the tight ends not named Kelsey or Kelsey need to score. Before Kelsey wasn't even getting 10 targets a game. It was before he got like 12 catches. So, I mean, yeah, but I like Hurst for that reason too. With Chase, Higgins, Boyd, Mixon, all of them healthy, he's still getting targets. And he's still out there running like you see a snap rate. So that's the one thing I think that's the positive. Is I mean, it's the one positive for a guy that's not that exciting. I agree, but like at least you have that going for him, and he's not a complete Noah Gray.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, exactly. Like that for me, it's the routes run, right? Like Noah Gray played more percentage of the snaps, but the problem is the roles in which they have are completely different. Like when Hayden Hurst is out there, he's running routes. Like Noah Gray is not necessarily doing that.
So Mahomes is good to go.
CMC Hurts.
We got a little push notification from Andy Reid saying that he worked hard in the treatment. He's doing okay. Reid says he's going to play, and that it isn't as serious as the one that Mahomes suffered in 2019. So
good news. Yeah, definitely good news. Definitely headed in the right direction. Definitely buy the dip now, because let's say Mahomes doesn't have that Q tag beside his name. Like, what does this draft board look like? Like, if we just rank this draft board from the jump right now and Mahomes doesn't have the Q tag, like it's some combination of that as the first 5 picks every single draft, right?
Yeah, I would say sometimes Mahomes just doesn't even make that.
No, I'm not saying in that order. I'm just saying those are the first 5 picks.
Okay.
Like period, right?
More or less.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah, more or less. With Mahomes healthy, those will be the first 5. Yeah. Not in any specific order. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So getting some combination of this, like these first 5 over and over again right now, while it's obtainable before they flatten out, like that seems like the pump, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that there will be an edge by the time we get to the end of the week. I think we're going to see that top 4 go, or rather McCaffrey, Kelsey, Hurts will rotate at the 101 at a pretty flat clip. It would be my guess on how the market plays this.
So
market is super high on Jalen Hurts. He's the biggest favorite on the slate by a 1.5. But I'm seeing a lot of public opinion saying that like the Eagles are going to roll and Jalen Hurts is the guy. It seems like he's like unequivocally like the QB people want on this slate, and I think we will see him have a really high ADP one if we get ADP.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's a very fun slate in that regard too, because like I also do think like the two best defenses are on the NFC side. The most likely game to shoot out is the AFC side game, but we're dealing with a hobbled Mahomes, right? Now all of a sudden, do you want the Burrow side? Do you want So I think for my money right now, if I'm slamming these drafts, like I want to try and pair any combination of these 3
100%.
over and over again as frequently as I possibly can.
Like that should be your custom ranks.
Right.
And then let the rest be ADP.
Yeah, I think if I was going to make custom ranks right now, it would look like this. Maybe it would look like this. and just go CMC, Kelsey, Chase, and then the draft kind of starts. And then I think I'm Hurts here.
Yeah.
But just like run defense style, and San Francisco looks like the best defense available. I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. This is a really fun slate to draft and talk about, and we will go way more sicko mode on it as the week goes on. But good little introductory to it. Good little chat through some hoops there. I think we're gonna wrap here today. We got some stuff. We got some stuff on the table that the boys got to take care of here. But 50, 60 of us still hanging out. Do us a favor, hit that like and subscribe on your way out the door. It does wonders for us. If you are not playing on Underdog Fantasy, what are you doing with your time? 100% match deposit with promo code BADGE up to 100 USD. Gentlemen, anything else we want to add here? Anything we forgot to say? Any words of wisdom before we leave?
No, I just think just feeling good about the Badge Bros, baby. We're eclipsing what's the word? Milestones. 600 subs. That's pretty dope. Twitter's growing. We appreciate you guys, man. It's awesome hanging out with you guys, and I think we're gonna have a pretty fun summer.
Yeah, I'll just say if you're looking to get into MLB, the first contest closes fairly quickly because we are approaching the fill at 83% for the bullpen. So if you're looking to itch any of a new sport or anything like that, which again we have free rankings, deep dive for everything, courtesy of baseball, in our Discord. Check that out. There's gonna be new contests out. We don't know if it's gonna be immediate, but if you're interested, we're at 17% left till full. So hop in there.
Love it. I started doing slow drafts because I'm in every yeah. You think I'm in one? I'm in 40 slow drafts right now. I've never been a slow draft guy before in my life. I never ever wanted to be a slow draft guy, and I'm in 40 of them because I'm addicted to baseball. I want to close with this. Thank you all for hanging around to the very bitter end, and you get rewarded for it because Chad has already got an ADP sheet ready for us. This contest has been out for an hour and a half.
Burrow over McCaffrey.
Chad's already got ADP for us. Yeah. So, but if we look at Burrow's range of outcomes, he falls to 11 sometimes. McCaffrey has never fallen past 6. You get
Yeah,
so he's in crazy. This little. But it's crazy to see his average ADP.
And in these drafts, McCaffrey's never been taken at the 101.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
Again, to take that for what it's worth, that we get more data. Yeah. So, but yeah, how many is this? Do we know?
Chad, if you're there, he says stack and run back isn't calculated yet, so just omit that column for a hot minute there. But this is just an initial look at ADP. Chase is going over Kelsey. Burrow is going over CMC.
Yeah.
Mixon over the AJ Brown and Smith range. And harping on what Nez was saying, Deebo Samuel with that sweet 12 ADP sitting down there, looking like some of the best value on the slate so far. Isaiah Pacheco over Miles Sanders, kind of a knee-jerk reaction. Hey, shout out me for having 4 Kenny Gainwell teams and them mattering 0% in the battle royale this week because all of them had some pairing of dust ass Giants run back associated with them. But this data,
I was gonna say one of these shows we might have to gush over some of my existing playoff teams.
Oh, I like it. Let's do it tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow.
Whenever. I'm just
okay. Tomorrow we're gushing over Nez's live playoff teams because he did the most out of the 3 of us, and he's smarter than all of us combined.
Just lying on air.
Here we go. Anyways, good initial little look at that. Good little screenshot. I will actually do everybody a favor and drop that screenshot in the Discord. I'm sure Chad will have his sheet up there in a hot minute, but yeah, here, Kelsey, Kittle, Deebo start. Look at that. Boom. Beautiful stuff. All right, cool. Best of luck to everybody playing the Hoop Streets. We will be hanging out in the Deposit Kingdom Discord the remainder of the day. Hit that like and subscribe, that follow on your way out the door. For myself, for Numi, for Nez, this is everybody's favorite time of the show. The end. Peace.